Hello, it's Uncommon Fossil, and today I'm presenting another expanded deck. This was a deck that was requested by a listener in a comment to one of the previous videos, so thank you very much for that comment. Thank you for the interest in it. So this deck is featuring Garchomp and Giratina-GX, another one of the Dragon tag teams. I had already done ADP and Luke Metal, and here is a TinaChomp or a Garchomp and Giratina-GX. 270 HP, so a decent number here. It's got 3 attacks, which all will get some use at different times. Linear attack is the little attack. It just does 40 damage, so not a big number, but that damage can be done to any of your opponent's Pokemon, so it can hit the bench, which at times is useful. The main attack is Calamitous Slash. It does 160. For 3 energy, Psychic, Fighting, Colorless. If the opponent's active Pokemon already has any damage counters on it, then it does 80 more damage, so it then gets up to 240. So that is mainly what you're doing. Because of that, I did put in a couple Galarian Zigzagoons in the deck to place some damage counters on to boost the damage there. We definitely want to take advantage of that. And then it's got its GX attack, which is called GGN-GX, and it's for Psychic, Fighting, and you discard one of your opponent's Pokemon and all cards attached to it, which is useful. Now, you don't take any prize cards, so it's not great, but if your opponent has set up one Pokemon with a bunch of energy and got evolved, and that's the main threat, boom, you can clear it out of there. With the GX, if this Pokemon has at least 3 extra fighting energy attached to it, then you discard 2 of your opponent's Pokemon instead of just the 1. Now, I don't have enough fighting energy in the deck to pull off that attack with... I can't get 4 fighting energy on because I only play 3 fighting energy, so I might want to adjust the energy counts to allow for that, although it's a lot of energy to get on where you don't draw any prizes, so I'm not really sure that I want to go for that. But this Pokemon's useful. I only play 1 copy, but I can't imagine, I haven't ever wanted a second copy to attack with it, but it is a very useful attacker in this deck. Now, before... In the full expanded format, there's double dragon energy, so that's a single attachment to any dragon Pokemon, and it gives you 2 types of 2 energy, and each of the energy can be any type you want. So it could be Psychic, Fighting, in this case, with 1 energy. So it really helped pay the attack cost. How to get the attack cost paid was the big question I had, and the answer for me is a Lost Zone engine with Mirage Gate to accelerate energy. And the nice thing is, in expanded, you have some additional Lost Zone cards from the Lost Zone in the bygone days, so it makes the Lost Zone setup quicker. So let me go through the deck a little bit and get an understanding of it. 4 Comfeys, right? You're familiar with that with flower selecting. Look at the top 2 cards. Put 1 in your hand, 1 in the Lost Zone. Basic part of current Lost Zone engines. This has the Sableye, right, with Lost Mine. If you have 10 cards in the Lost Zone, then you put 12 damage counters in your opponent's Pokemon any way you like. Very useful. Plays 2 Cramorant. Again, Lost Provision. If there's 4 more cards in the Lost Zone, ignore energy costs, so you spit innocently, does 110 damage. Doesn't affect weakness, though, so if your opponent's weak to water, it doesn't help you out there. And then 1 Radiant Greninja. As you know, you can only play 1 Radiant Pokemon. Radiant Greninja is nice for concealed card ability. You discard an energy once per turn and draw 2 cards, so a way to help set up. And also, the Moonlight Shuriken attack has its place in some games. It's water colorless. You have to discard 2 energy from this Pokemon, and the attack does 90 damage to 2 of your opponent's Pokemon. So with Mirage Gate, you can set up Radiant Greninja if you want to, so it has some value there. Some other of the older cards, I play 2 Trumbeak. This is a stage 1 card, so you never play it onto the bench because we don't have the basic evolves from, but it has Mountain Pass. And once during your turn, before you attack, if this Pokemon is in your hand, you may reveal it. If you do, look at the top card of your opponent's deck and put this Pokemon in the Lost Zone. If that card is a supporter card, you may put it in the Lost Zone. If your opponent has no cards in their deck, you can't use this ability. Of course, they have no cards in deck. You just pass and win the game. But so it's a card, 80 HP, Level Ball searchable even, so we can access it, and you just play it, toss it in the Lost Zone. If your opponent happens to have a support on top of the deck, you probably get that out of play. But the main thing is this is a free card that you can get into the Lost Zone very easily. Also play a couple of Prism Star cards in this deck. With the Prism Stars, if you can't play more than one of a uniquely named Prism Star. So you can have multiple Prism Stars, but like this Volcanion Prism Star, you can only put one in your deck. And then more importantly, when this card is discarded from play, it goes into the Lost Zone. So another way to get some cards in the Lost Zone. And it can be played down. It's a basic. It has the Jet Geyser ability. Once during your turn, before you attack, you may discard a water energy from your hand. If you do, your opponent switches their active Pokemon with one of their bench Pokemon. So a way to make your opponent switch their Pokemon can be useful. Although a lot of it is just to discard it and have it go into the Lost Zone. And then it has Sauna Blast attack for 3 water. It does 100 damage, and it does 20 damage to each of your opponent's bench Pokemon. So that's very useful in terms of setting up the damage counters for Garchomp and Giratina, right? You get all of their bench Pokemon with damage counters on them. Can be helpful to set up. Most of the time, though, it's just there to go into the Lost Zone as an easy card to the Lost Zone. Energy count, play 3 fighting, 4 psychic, 3 water, right? Water is useful for Greninja to attack with, as well as the Volcanion if I want to do that. And then fighting and psychic are what Garchomp and Giratina requires. And then psychic obviously pays for the Sableye. So that's why I have 1 more psychic for Sableye there. Going through the trainers, a lot of trainers you're familiar with, a couple of older ones also. One, Hisuian Heavy Ball, particularly to get out the Garchomp and Giratina if it's prized, or something else from the prizes. Useful card there. 2 Air Balloons just to help with the switching with the deck. 4 Switch Carts because it is a basic attacking deck, so some Switch Carts to switch your active again with the Comfeys is very useful and does some healing there. 3 Ordinary Rods because there's, with a lot of Lost Zone decks, as with those, doesn't play a lot of basic energy, so needing to recover some energy from the discard pile or get back a Pokemon that's been discarded or knocked out. So useful there. I think 3 maybe could drop to 2. I do like having the 3 there. Play a Wondrous Labyrinth. That is a Prism Star Stadium. It's very useful. Again, Prism Star card, if it's discarded from play, it goes in the Lost Zone. So another way to get a card in the Lost Zone. But the Stadium's effect is also useful. The attacks of non-fairy Pokemon, both yours and your opponent's, cost 1 colorless more. Now, it's not a fairy deck, so I have to pay the higher attack cost too, but I'm prepared for it. It does cause some disruption to my opponents. I found it useful. The Stadium also can't be bumped by an item or a supporter, so something like Field Blower or such, or a supporter that would bump Stadium doesn't get rid of it. It really only gets bumped by another Stadium being played down. So it is a little more sticky than most Stadiums for that reason. 4 Quick Balls, again, to search out the basic Pokemon, as well as can discard a Prism Star card into the Lost Zone. 1 Raihan, a very useful trainer. Obviously, if your Pokemon's knocked out, you accelerate an energy from the discard pile to one of your Pokemon. Search for any 1 card from deck. So useful there. Obviously, at some point in the game, you often have to decide, do you want to Lost Zone the Raihan or some other piece? And it's a tricky choice, but obviously part of what has to be done with a Lost Zone deck. 2 Level Ball, a lot of cards Level Ball searchable. 4 Mirage Gate, because that's really important for accelerating the energies, because you got to get those energies onto the Garchomp and Giratina. Mirage Gate really is the only way to do it. Another older card here in Lost Blender. It's not a great draw card. What it says is you put 2 cards from your hand in the Lost Zone. If you do, you draw a card. So discard it. Getting rid of 2 to draw 1's not great, but those 2 cards go in the Lost Zone. So a nice way to fill up the Lost Zone even faster. So these older cards do help the Lost Zone get filled up quickly. Nest Ball, as you know, take a search for a basic Pokemon, put it right onto the bench. Good for all of your Pokemon except for the Galarian Zigzagoon, because that you have to play from hand. 4 Scoop Up Nets, which is useful for reusing Pokemon with abilities or for switching purposes. 4 Colorless Experiment, obviously a key supporter. Raihan is the only other supporter in deck. Getting cards in the Lost Zone and getting some cards into hand, a very useful card here. And 1 Lost Vacuum. You can obviously get rid of a tool or a stadium of your opponents if you think it's a problem, or you can utilize it just to get an extra card in the Lost Zone. So it has value just accelerating the Lost Zone. So let's take a look on the expanded beta casual, because you can only do expanded and casual, see how the deck performs. I've been finding the deck to work pretty well. I gotta say, it's a pretty fun deck to play. The numbers, in terms of the damage and the ways you get them on, is a little different than some other decks. So it's been, I think, an interesting deck to play. We'll see how things go. In expanded, it's a mix. There's some very suboptimal decks, sometimes even starter decks that are being played. Not sure why, but a good number of the games, at least half the games, are with very solid expanded decks. There's certainly been some good lightning decks. Obviously, with Miraidon EX, with some of the older cards like Pikarom, Electric Generator, make Lightning even better than in the past. And Pikarom certainly was a very good deck. Shadow Rider VMAX is still a solid option also. I think I'd be looking at a Shadow Rider deck in the near future, I think, because that has been one of the best decks in format. With the full expanded, it still should be a very strong deck with this nerfed expanded format. So opponent won the coin toss. We will see what happens here. Waiting for them. All right, so I go second. Not a surprise. Before rotation, Lost Zone was very good at attacking with Cramorant turn 1. Since rotation and the loss of net, it's gotten much harder. But with these additional cards, these older cards, all right, Galarian Berserker. Okay, just seeing what I have here. So boosting, I believe, the metal damage. Wow, okay, a bunch of... All right, so done here. So, got that loud sound effect, right? So Galarian Meowth, which discards 2 cards from hand, can be used to get cards in discard. I think I did see the Berserker, though, so probably the Evolution Roar gets them, the Berserkers, to play. So, I don't know. Opponent didn't like their hand, and they conceded. Take the win. Obviously, I much would have rather played the game some, So jump in. Let's take another game. Hopefully, we actually get some game play this time. I'd encourage everyone, when you get a hand you don't like, don't concede the game. Rather, play the game out, because being forced to play in difficult situations is a very important skill to learn. It really, I think, helps you grow as a player. You're here to have fun. Obviously, it's a game. But part of the experience is learning to play well and trying to grow your skill at the game. I would say, for myself, that's certainly part of what makes it fun. And playing difficult matchups and playing in games where you're unfavored is important. So we'll see what happens. I'm pretty sure. So I have a different opponent this time, which is good. I think the game tries not to match up with the same people, though sometimes it does happen, I've noticed. So I won the coin toss. I will go first. It will let me really set up with hopefully get a couple cards in the Lost Zone turn 1, and then I can really be in business on turn 2. So Comfey Air Balloon, very nice. A very nice starting hand. I can get 2 cards in the Lost Zone, Comfey Air Balloon, another Comfey. I can lay down the Garchomp Giratina, accelerate 1 and attach 1 energy to it. So 2 in the Lost Zone and 1 energy attachment on my first turn is a very solid start to things. May play the Goon, might not, though. I'll have to see. Obviously, I could get judged or Marnie. So Zamazenta, which is immune just to VMAXs, not to my GX. So that's okay with me. Let's see what we have here. Kara's Experiment. Want to get that supporter for next turn. That is super good. Lay down another Comfey. Hopefully I don't lose this hand. I like that supporter in hand. Let's see what I get here. So Cramorant. So that's nice. I will toss down the Cramorant, and I will... So I have 2 cards here. It's possible I can even attack with Garchomp and Giratina next turn. So play that down, and I will end turn. I certainly am sad about getting rid of the net. That would have been a nice card to have in hand, but I think I can make things work without it. So I've attached an Air Balloon. I've got rid of an Air Balloon. So no more Air Balloons in deck. Was that ADP, I think? So let's see what happens here. Obviously, ADP is a beast of a card. So Zacian into play. So Zacian, Zamazenta, and I'm pretty sure it was ADP. I should see that. Yep, ADP. So Metal Saucer to it. So they need to just attach a water energy switch. They might be able to pull off ADP's attack this game. If I have the ability to, if they don't pull off their attack, and I have the ability to GG end their ADP, I might want to do that, because now they've discarded their other ADP. They probably just play 2. So if they don't get off Alter Creation this turn, they need a water energy and a energy switch card and a switch card to do it. That's 3 cards. Now they're down to 3 cards in hand. They're drawing some more cards. So again, if they just knock out my Comfey, that's okay. They end their turn. So can I make this work? So I have a Psychic Energy. I need to get a bunch of energies. I mean, a bunch of cards in the Lost Zone. All right, what am I going to get rid of? All right. I'll get rid of the Sableye. I'm sad about that. I do have... all right, so... So... 1, 2, 3, 4, 5... let me get the heavy ball, see what I... no, I don't know if I need the heavy ball, do I? I have 1... I don't... Alright, I'm trying to figure out what I need here to make this work. It's not what I wanted to happen. The problem is they're probably going to be able to... get this worked out for them. So that's unfortunate. All right, so 5. No, do I don't. Can I afford? Yeah, I can get rid of an energy. All right, I will get rid of a water energy. Get down to Radiant Greninja. Draw 2 cards with his ability. I'll get rid of the water energy, because the fighting and the psychic are really what I need here. Okay, Wondrous Labyrinth. That's quite nice also. Okay, so Wondrous Labyrinth will be useful for sure. Put that down. I'm going to... So what do I have here? Water, water. So I will... Now, get rid of the Psychic Energy, because Psychic fighting colorless is the 1 attack cost. Retreat, Cramorant. Attach. No, I already attached per turn. I will just spit innocently. I'm not so sure spitting so innocent, but anyway, that's what they call it. So I'm not halfway there. I can hit them again next turn, and they're still not knocked out, because that 230 HP Zacian gets knocked out with a 2-shot, not the Cramorant. So they're setting up the ADP. I hope. Okay, Tails is good, because losing my energy. I do have Rod, so I can recover from it, but this is, I got to say, it's a tense game to me. So I'm feeling nervous here, but the game, that's very nice. I liken that. Obviously, hammers are not a card I like, and when it flips tails, it's a very reassuring thing at this end. So they did energy search, switch, all right, but they still need to attach a water to the Arceus, to the ADP, and they have to, I think they already played, right? They played research this turn, so I'm not sure about that play. So let's think here. So what can I do? 5. I really do want to get rid of that ADP. So I'm going to ditch this energy. See what I get. A Comfey and an energy there. 5. So I can't get rid of the stadium with my Lost Vacuum. What are the odds of making this work, right? Not very good is what I guess I say. I could go for a net. All right, I'm going to go very aggressive here. I need to get very lucky for this to work. But I really am worried about that ADP. So I'll grab a Raihan. That's actually a pretty useful card before things are done. 6. Right, I will get rid of another card here. Keeping my goon, so I'm at 7. So get rid of that. So I can now Mirage Gate. Let me get back some energies. That and that. I like that quite a lot. I will get down. Wait. Oh, wait. Oh, no. I played the wrong card. I meant to play Mirage Gate. That was unfortunate. Okay. I meant to play Mirage Gate. So I sloppy play on my part. And so I don't attack. I could have gooned and knocked out the Zacian. Maybe that was the play I should have made. Right? I could have gooned and hit with Cramorant, taken 2 prizes. Instead, I've really focused on getting to the ADP because I gotta say I am worried about ADP because ADP will take out. Honestly, if they get off Ultra Creation, they can win by taking my single prizers, my single prize cards, right? Because they could win the race that way. I think so. I want to. Marnie's okay. I need a switch card, right? Switch, and I can take out the ADP. So Lost Blender. Let's see what they get rid of. Wow. So that's all 4 of them. So they got very unlucky, which, is that just 3 of them? Oh, I thought that was 4. No, yep, that's all 4. Okay, so energy switch. So they're going to attack with Zacian, it looks like. No, they're Intrepid Sorting. So I like this a lot. So I have a goon in hand. I'd like a net or a switch cart. So I can get back energy or Pokemon. So that's good. I will retreat here. I'm going to get rid of the. Oh, I don't have it, do I? I am very silly here because I have my Stadium of Play. I don't have what I needed, do I? So let me get a Pokemon into hand here. So I'm at 8. So let me get my Sableye. And now I will get rid of. I guess I get rid of this goon. It makes me a bit sad, but I can make that work. Mirage Gate. Ah, beautiful. So now that is exactly what I wanted. So, right, I need an energy and a psychic energy. And I should have both of those there, right? A psychic and I'll attach a fighting. So, fighting to active. I need a second energy ultimate to Sableye to attack, but that's okay too. So I'll GG end and get rid of ADP. So I haven't played it flawlessly. I got to admit that. But getting rid of ADP really takes away a big threat. They can't one-shot my Zacian. Filling up the bench does have its downside because they're going to do big damage to me. I'll have to think about how I'm going to handle this going after this. Right, because they're going to hit into me. They can do an extra 30 if they wanted to. All right, well, that's a favor that they're doing for me there, getting more cards than one. I like 4. 4 is better than 1. Switch Cart, that is very nice. I'll heal 30 damage. Not that that helps all that much. Probably send up the Cramorant there to attack. So I could finish off. All right, so I think I just want to switch cart. I switch cart, and I just attack with Cramorant, I think, right? No, actually, I can. Yeah, I can retreat with Comfey, so I will do that. See what I get here. Close Experiment is nice. I don't. Maybe I needed that other card. We'll see. That might have been a mistake. Okay, good. So 110 here, so halfway to knocking him out, which gives me some decent options of how I work my damage. Right, at this point, it looks like I may get my Stadium to stick. So they're going to, I have to assume, attack. So I will send up, at this point, I'll set up Radiant Greninja. I'm not going to attack with him, and I don't think I need his draw the rest of this game. Let's see what my opponent does. Maybe they're trying to stall me. We'll see. What do I have for? I have one net there in the loss zone, and no nets there. So I play. So okay. So I could retreat. I think I. So I need to switch. So I'll call this Experiment. Switch cart. And Raihan is nice too, I think. So that's quite nice. So I'm going to Sableye, take out the Zacian on the bench, right? And do 110 to him and put 1 damage counter someplace. Oh, I'll put 1 on. Oh, I needed another energy, don't I, silly boy? So that's fine. Good thing I have the energy in hand. So I want to take out the V. 80. 200. So he's knocked out. And put 1 more on Zamazenta, so Sableye takes out the Zamazenta next turn. Right? That's my thought there. All right, another energy. Energy is good. Mirage Gate. Those, all right, nice prizes to get there. So Sableye will finish off the Zamazenta. Actually, 110 does. So Cramorant also finishes off. I'm sorry, so Sableye will, but I can also ping like the Zacian to help weaken him, because I do need to get damage onto the Zacian so I can take him out with my Garchomp and Giratina, right? So Goon, that's nice to have. So I just want to finish him off, put 1 onto Zacian. So, right, that's where I want this to end up. So 230 on Zamazenta. And put 10 on Zacian. So now my Garchomp and Giratina will wipe out that Zacian, which of course is the big attacker. Now I don't have any, I don't have boss, so I'm a bit at their mercy of what they're going to do. So they can, all right, so they're going to take out my Giratina and Garchomp, but they take 2 prizes. That's okay, right? That's okay. All right, Field Blower that away. I'm sure they would have liked to get rid of the Stadium, which they can't do. So I want to So I can two-shot the Zacian. So I think, so I want to hit him with Cramorant. Cramorant's attack cost is still free because it says there's no energy cost, so it doesn't increase. I have a net. I have a very nice set of cards here. So I will just hit him for 110. Sableye will finish him off next turn. If they gust up the Sableye and attack with another Pokemon, that's the worst thing they can do to me. But they need to get, if they just gust them up, attack, takes them out with Zacian, that's okay. The Cramorant finishes off the Zacian V. So this game has gone quite nicely with this deck, right? Up against a reasonable deck, Zacian Zamazenta ADP deck, a solid option. And the fact that Garchomp and Giratina was able to take out the ADP before they could attack. They obviously struggled a little bit getting it set up, but that is part of that deck can have that issue. And then the Wondrous Labyrinth helped there too. They were going to have to get 3 energy on to ADP to pull off the attack. So they're just making a last gasp. They know I have game on board next turn. I don't, they could, at this point, things are pretty safe here. So they're just stalling me out, which is a reasonable play on their part, but it's not going to work because I have net in hand, I have energy. So they bump my Stadium, so that's a plus for them. They could then attack, right? But they're Intrepid Sorting, which is fine. I will scoop up Cramorant, and good game to my opponent. So we will take out the Zacian V for game. So I'll just pile it all on Zacian V. I don't need to go further, but that is game. So there we see the deck working. We see the Lost Zone, which gets set up nice and quickly with the older pieces. So looking at, kind of exploring the Lost Zone, trying to it could get some more tweaking, I'm sure, and get a little better with these older cards. Which Prism Stars should I get to put into the deck? That's a question for sure that I'm not entirely sure about. And but I think I'm pretty happy with this deck list, I gotta say. The Garchomp and Giratina is okay, I would say. It's not the strongest Pokemon in the world, but 270 HP, reasonably tanky. Obviously, 270 HP and giving up 3 prizes right now isn't good because the VMAXs, which also give up 3 prizes, have higher HP in almost all the cases. But having that GX attack is useful, and a solid deck, and again, another fun game. I'm enjoying this deck, and it certainly is a solid deck to play with. Give it a try if you want. Let me know what you think about it. Have a good day. Take care.